Hi, this is 3 of Skeins, Knit and Crochet Podcast, number 99.
Is it?
Yes, it is. And I am Lisa.
I'm Cryss. It's 99. Oh my God.
99.
I feel like I missed an episode.
Well, I'll double check that, but yes, 99. That's what I'm going with. How you doing today, Cryss? You know, you're nothing if not pithy. You know, we were just saying that I am my iPad is off to the side updating because I'm a little bit jealous of this update Crystal just got.
Now there's a calligraphy pen.
Yeah, so her notes are like looking beautiful in calligraphy. I'm just like, I want my calligraphy notes too.
Oh, say it.
Oh, yes. Hi. Please like and subscribe.
It makes our mom happy.
Yay.
Okay.
I was going to forget.
Yeah. Whips. We have the list.
Yes.
You know
yes,
what?
we
Talk
do.
about Vogue first because whips can get involved.
Oh, yes, it can. I am going to be teaching at October's Virtual Vogue. It's October 27th through 29th. I'm teaching 2 classes. Bind Off Loosely and Sweater Savvy, Knit a First Sweater That Fits. There are going to be a lot of other classes too. At least check out the website. The deals are great, and it's really nice when you don't have the travel expenses too, so you can just take your class. And they're recording the classes so that for 2 weeks afterwards you can go back and rewatch, or if you can't be there when the class is offered live, you can still watch the playback, which I did myself. The last Virtual Vogue, I missed one class. I think I mixed up the time or something. So I was able to go back and watch my class afterwards, which was amazing.
Hey, now whips. We have a whip in hand.
I do have a whip in hand.
That sounded weird.
I am working on my birthday sock. It's going pretty quickly. I cast it on, I think, on Saturday. And in real time, today is Thursday, so about 5 days ago. I'm working in this beautiful red wine color from Homemade Yarn. And this speckled is the Persimmon Hill Yarn Club colorway Wild Horses from the yarn shop at Alma Park. Let me hold this up close so you guys can see. I love how these two are working together. They are playing so nicely. So I kind of got inspired by the lessons I learned from the book I was working out of on my last sock. How to make 2 socks, knit 2 socks in one by Sophia Talley. And I have a strong preference. Don't ask me why. I know it is totally non-rational, but in my mind, I just feel better when I make a sock from the toe up. So I'm flipping this bad boy around. I'm using her method. The other thing I'm changing is I just went ahead and made the heel, because when I use the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which this is, it just works better for me, at least, to just make it as I go. So this sock I'm knitting from this toe to the other toe on the other foot. And when I cut them apart, all I will need to do is add 2 cuffs. So they will have their toes, they'll have their heels.
It's something of a sock experiment.
It is a sock experiment. I feel very sock experimental. So because I use a foot model, it's a cardboard cutout of my foot. That is a technique that I use from the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister.
It is. It makes me stutter in my brain just trying to think about it. I always say that is the best $1 I've ever spent on knitting. Go ahead, get you the pattern. If you make socks on a regular basis, I find this heel fits my foot really well. So it's really the heel I do most of the time. So once you have the foot pattern made, the foot model made, I don't need to swatch for socks anymore, because as I work the sock, I'm measuring it on my foot model. Once it gets to a certain point on my foot model, I know my sock has met the width of my foot. I can just go on up. I've been putting pins along the way because my stitches are so tiny, it'll be easy to miss a row or two. This is how I'm going to make the socks the same length. I know how many rows were in the foot. I will know how many rows are in the leg. I started putting my counting stitch markers in the leg. And I will double check I actually will have to measure and see what my rows per inch are, because what I want to do is put a band that's going to be about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches wide, and put a band of color work within that band. So I'll need to know, you know, how many rows per inch, because I'm going to make the leg of my sock about 7.5 inches long. So about 2.5 inches before the end of the top of the sock, I will start my band of color work in that space. So I'll need to know, you know, where I am in the foot, just so I can get that right. And then what I'll do on the other sock is just copycat what I did on the first sock. So this is my vanilla sock, knit all in one. So I'll end up with a pair of socks at the end of this process. But that's what's going on with my sock. Super fun.
So when you do the fish lips kiss heel, you can do that with either a bottom up or a top down sock?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
So your other heel will be the same?
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll just be a lot of fun. So I have a little conundrum going on about exactly what pattern is going to be in my color work. I've been going through my color work pattern books, my color work chart books. And I did have a little bit of resources on mosaic knitting. Not what I would like, but it was better than the nothing I had before. I don't have all the books. She has all the books. I wish I had all the books. I do not.
Excuse me, my nose is itching.
Give me a sympathetic inch. Anyway.
Clown car.
Meep, meep. There we go. So I think I found the pattern that I've settled on. I've looked through everything I have and I'm like, The only issue is my pattern is a little bit bigger than I would like it to be. I have 72 stitches in this sock, and I think the pattern I found, anyway, it's wider than I need it to be. So I have about, I think it's 18 stitches on each needle. My pattern is 19 stitches wide. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 1 stitch to each needle. So I have 19 stitches, so I'll have 4 repeats of the color work pattern going around the circumference of the sock.
Not worried about your sock?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because color work pulls in anyway. So I'm gonna use that to my advantage and keep my stitches, you know, add a couple of stitches that I can just disappear when I start doing the cuff.
Fascinating.
I might even go up a needle size because it pulls in, and I want to still be able to get my sock on easily, on and off easily. But that's where I'm going with this sock.
Socks sound so complicated.
They're really not. It's a tube.
It's not a tube.
It's a tube.
There's a heel. There's shaping at the toe. There's a lot.
Oh, but speaking of shaping at the toe, I did the Turkish cast on when I did this toe. It's just, you do a figure 8 around your needles, and then you knit one side of those loops and you knit the other side of those loops, and you have a row that grows out of the middle, and then you just knit up around and around, so you end up with this hollow shape.
I'm going to assume you knitters know what she's talking about.
That's how I did that toe. But otherwise, I did this stripe just for fun. And there's going to be a stripe on the top, then the band of color work, then a stripe, and then the cuff. And then Shazam, she's done.
That doesn't sound very Shazam-y, but
that's a story with my sock. How are things going in Whipland for you?
Okay, I guess. We will see, won't we? So I have now reached the point of the skirt, the front panel of the skirt, or back panel, where I will begin my shaping because I'm going to, narrow a little bit to the waist. So this is what I have right now. Yeah, she's very wrinkled, but
I like that soft, creamy,
and then
white you went with.
I feel like this. Hold this for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like that is looking very skirtiferous.
I agree.
And I am just really happy with it. Oh, that's gonna be cute.
Yeah, these colors play together beautifully.
So that's really all that's happened. I'm stitching along. I'm making a rectangle for the most part. It's gonna have a little shaping at the top, but I'm stitching a rectangle, so it's not exciting. There's a lot more going on with her sock than there is going on with my skirt. But I haven't decided yet how I'm going to sew the sides and the front and back panel together yet, because I don't want any kind of bulk or anything at the seam. What are we looking for?
My other object. I brought it out and I don't know where I put it. Keep talking. Just pretend I'm not moving.
He's looking around like a bird. Anyway, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to sew the skirt together, because I really want those seams to lay flat. And I have never tried doing mattress stitch where I don't have stitches that match up exactly on either side. So I'm gonna have, my bigger, extended single crochet on the skirt side, and then my tiny little single crochets on, and I'm using 2 different weights of yarn on the side panel. I don't know if mattress stitch works like that. I mean, I don't think there's a reason I shouldn't be able to do it. It's just I've never done it before. I like to have like the same number of stitches on either side, and I haven't gotten that far. It's really just one step at a time. It's like when you're assembling furniture from IKEA. Don't look ahead to all those other pages. Just focus on the page in front of you and count the holes.
Oh yeah, counting the holes. She taught me that. Count those holes.
Okay. And so that's how I'm working on this skirt. I don't know what comes next. I'm just trying to count the holes, okay? But yeah, that's all that's going on with my skirt.
So are you going to do any edge stitches along the sides of your center panel, or is that just going to be?
I don't know.
Because that might help with your mattress stitching.
I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
on page 3
You
of
really
the
aren't
IKEA
looking
instructions.
ahead at all.
Okay, I'm not worried about page 17. I'm on page 3.
Well, at least that since you're doing this in pieces, it's convenient because you could like dry fit that. So before you actually sew it together, you could actually try it on and all of that, which would be kind of great.
How, just like whip stitches or something? How would that hold it together?
Even pinning it.
Oh, I guess I could try that. I hate trying on things with pins. It's the worst part of sewing.
Safety pins.
You have some?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't. I have no safety pins. But yeah, I don't know how she's going together yet. I'm just telling myself she's going together and it'll be fine.
All right.
Because this is different for me, putting together pieces at different gauges.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done this before. So
now y'all like to say that I'm kind of willy-nilly.
it's a skirt experiment.
I think that kind of stuff. I think about that kind of stuff ahead. I mean, it stresses me. So I think about it. I'm like, you're good to be able to say, well, I'm not there yet. Let me not worry about it.
Because every step of the way, I'm having to make these decisions. And so I just can't get ahead of myself. I have to, right now I'm worried about shaping. I want to make sure that it just comes out to the right size at the waist. And so that's all I'm thinking about, just shaping. And because, each step has had its own, things to weigh and measure. Yeah, I can only do one thing at a time. So I'm just trying to keep track of the decisions I'm going to have to make.
Yeah.
But not making them yet. Yep, so that's my whip. That's what's happening. That's where she's at.
Okay, I have one more whip.
Of course. Don't you always?
Of course, of course. It's not much of a whip, but it's the beginnings of a whip. I have started swatching on the duck sweater. Now, I am using, since I'm kind of building this sweater on my own, I use the gauge that they gave me on the ball band. And before I go further on this, I think I'm going to go down a needle size and see if I like that fabric better.
Why?
Because this fabric, doesn't it seem a little loose to you? Give her a feel. You'll see what I mean.
No, I don't think so.
You see how you can see holes when you open it?
But is that a bad thing?
It'll be a little bit more durable if it's knit a little bit tighter. So I'm not going to go down a million.
Yeah, but she's growing. So it doesn't need to last forever, because she's only going to get a few years out of this.
If that, I know. I don't know.
It's for our niece.
It's for our niece. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter needle, which is I guess is a US 7. And overall, I think I like the fabric, but I think it could be a little tighter. We'll see. I'll probably just keep going with this. But what I did was, to get the size swatch I like to work with, I just doubled everything that they said. So they said 20 stitches should be about 4 inches. So I did 40 stitches.
Who's they?
The ball band.
Okay. You might want to share that.
Yeah.
Do you just hear knitting voices from beyond?
Yes, I hear those voices. I hear a little voice coming from the ball band. Meet me with a 7. So this will be the background color. And I kind of got stalled out on this swatch because I was having a debate with myself about the needle size. So I don't know.
Oh, no, I like it.
She's like, it looks fine to me.
It does. I mean, I like it. It's okay if it's a little open like that. I think that's, a feature.
But that's as far as I've gotten. I will be, I have to finish this gauge swatch so I can calculate my actual numbers that I'll be using to make the sweater and make the chart for the duck. Until then, I can't get the swatch. The swatch, everything flows from the swatch, so I can't get anywhere else until the swatch is finished and washed and blocked. And you know what? That will probably make a difference too once I run this through the washing machine and the dryer, because this is Berocco Vintage. It's not an alpaca. It is an acrylic and wool mix, and so it's going to change a bit when it goes through the washing machine and dry. So you know what? I'm not going to stress myself out about that anymore.
There you go.
I am going to finish this swatch. So I'm going to do 27 rows, 40 stitches, and measure it when it comes out of the washing machine and dryer again, because I think that's going to tighten this situation up a bit.
And your duck is going to be intarsia or duplicate stitch?
Both. The main body of the duck will be intarsia, and the little details will be duplicate stitch, because they'll just be easier to do.
Okay. Well, happy ducking.
Thank you.
Okay, so I mentioned that I'm using Ultra Wool, Berocco Ultra Wool for my skirt, and I wasn't entirely sold on this yarn, and then I blocked my swatch because, her influence. But it really is it's different after you block it. And so I have this shawl that I made years ago out of Ultra Wool when I was still trying to make friends with Ultra Wool. And I didn't block it because I was still like a non-blocker then. I was a no block. So I think I'm going to give her a block now, but this is my shawl. So
I forgot about this one. That's really nice.
And it's, I think, 5 different colors. And it's a crescent shawl, asymmetric. And the pattern is by Melissa Leapman, and I believe it's called the Stepping Out Shawl because it has this like little step detail on the edge.
It reminds me of the hitchhiker shawl.
So I'm gonna give that a block and see how it goes.
Because the look on your face when you were feeling that swatch, I was like, oh.
It says it, you know, I'm one of those people, like, I'm very like picky about my wool because first of all, wool was new to me. So just the feel of wool compared to acrylic was just completely different.
Yeah.
But again, I have like just a sensitivity, not like an allergy, but just a sensitivity such that some wools, I can't wear them. They're just very uncomfortable on my skin. And for me, Ultra Wool was one of those. It's not for Lisa. Lisa's absolutely fine with Ultra Wool.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like a little, so I have a specific coat that I used to always wear this over because it had a floral design and these colors match the flowers on the coat, but I never wore this like on my skin. So I think after I block her, we'll see if she's skin safe at that point.
And you know what? We discovered something recently about wool wash too, at least with Eucalan. Eucalan has washing machine instructions on the bottle. So for your things that you can put in the washing machine that are made of wool, it says just put a teaspoon.
Yeah, so I guess your super wash wools, you could.
Yeah,
put a little
but I washed a bunch of wool coats last week, and they feel good. They smell great. But I'm thinking since that is Ultra Wool, that's super wash. You could run that through the washing machine and the dryer.
Could. And then I wouldn't have to pin it out. Good job. Because I sure been procrastinating. But if I can just toss this bad boy in the washing machine, that's a revelation.
Yep.
So she might actually get blocked sooner rather than later now. But yeah, I just wanted to show you all the shawl that I was talking about, and then we'll take another look at it after it's gone through the washing machine. So you want to show them your, Lisa has a finished object.
I do have a finished object. I'm very excited. I have finally finished my skirt. So let me go all the way back as far as I can. Am I in the middle? Because I can't see anything.
Yes, you're good.
Thank you.
And it's got a flounce.
It's got its flounce. I will be putting a picture in of me wearing it. She fits really great.
It does.
Crystal was like, "You made it custom. What did you expect?"
Should it not?
But the last thing I did, look at that. That's why there's this one end. It was the last. I wove in all my ends. I was really excited because I was like, oh, the ends no more. But then the last thing I did was sew in the waistband elastic and cover over the waistband elastic with, the rest of the top of the skirt. Because it had, it had a planned fold over edge. And I forgot that last little bit of
And you only got one string in hanging inside your clothes. You're doing good. Because y'all don't know what's going on inside this bad boy.
But the process of putting in the waistband elastic was really easy. I had more issues with the sewing machine than I did with the thing because we have two sewing machines, and I didn't realize that I thought I pulled out the one I normally use, and it wasn't. I was like, Mom bought this much fancier sewing machine that I'm quite intimidated by. So I really only use my little 18 stitch machine.
You sewed it on the machine?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just did you know what? I think I might have a picture of what it looked like. I just sewed my waistband in a circle and did a square where the two pieces overlap.
Oh, not the folding of the waistband. Okay, because I was like, you put your knitwear through the sewing machine?
No, you know what? You can. But,
I know, I've seen people do it.
But I don't have, you can do it, especially like with a stabilizer under it, but I didn't have anything to stabilize it. So I just sewed it by hand.
That was just, you sewed the elastic.
Yeah, I sewed the elastic together.
And I was like, oh, how'd you do that?
They sell like a tearaway stabilizer that you can put that will help you not stretch out. But you know what? I used to sew. Haven't sewed in years. And I had some bad experiences sewing knits. So I'm still really like intimidated by sewing knits. I was trying to sew a t-shirt, and I would have sworn in court that I wasn't stretching that seam as I was sewing. You should have seen my horrible, demented looking seams.
Oh, not demented. Okay.
They were doing this, they were doing that, and they weren't supposed to be doing any of that.
Yeah, one imagines.
So I have not explored machine stitching my knits. And you know what? I really haven't needed to. This is the most sewing I've had to do on a knit in ages. But I love it. I absolutely love it. So I ended up using, I think it was 642 grams of yarn. I can tell you exactly. Yeah, it was 642 grams. That's about 12 3/4 of a skein, and I have that 3/4 of a skein left over. So that leaves me 6 skeins. So I will be getting that tank top out of my my lino. I didn't calculate the number of yards yet, but it's about 1,200 and change yards. So it's comparable to knitting a sweater. I always thought skirts would take more yardage than sweaters. And this is a lot of skirt.
That's because I think we all underestimate how much yarn sleeves take.
Yeah.
That's where your yarn gets used up.
Yeah, that's why I'm planning a tank top, because I know I can't get sleeves out of what I have. This flounce,
She whined the whole time she was
so
making
much more yarn.
She was like, "Now it's this many stitches between the eyelets. Now it's this many stitches between the eyelets." She was okay. She had a slight breakdown.
I was gonna say I started at the waist with less than 200 stitches, and I ended up at the hem with over 500 stitches.
It nearly broke her.
I was like,
I was glad when the skirt was done. Because I couldn't take it anymore. We were all happy, but she finished this skirt.
So from waist to hem, it's about 26 inches long, and it comes to just at the knee, which I think is a great length for me. I like to either wear my skirts at or above the knee, or like ankle length. Everything else in between makes me look squat. That's just my preference. So I'm really happy. Like I said, I'm gonna throw some pictures in, and she's like super fun. See the hem swoosh?
Oh goodness.
The hem swoosh is what I walk, which I absolutely adore. But that is my finished object. I have finished a skirt. Waistband, elastic, and all.
Yay! It's cute though. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. So that brings me back to just 2 projects. That's it. Just 2.
Does she sound all virtuous?
I feel virtuous. Okay, I feel the virtue. Because you know what? I need
Is that a thing?
I I need the project. I need the 2 projects because sometimes I don't feel like the one project. And if you don't feel like the one project, and you don't have another project, what do you do?
Work on the one project.
Oh.
You knit up.
Okay. All right. All right. Y'all heard it here. I guess that's the name of the episode. Knit up.
Okay. Moving on. There is an article in The Atlantic you might want to take a look at.
Yeah.
I think it's literally called Your Sweaters Are Garbage.
Yes, that's what it's called. Your sweaters are garbage.
And it's basically talking about why the quality of knits has, devolved over time. Apparently, someone recreated a scene from When Harry Met Sally, and they were wearing a similar sweater to the one Billy Crystal was wearing. I still haven't seen that movie. Billy Crystal was wearing in the movie, but someone posted on what I guess used to be Twitter, a side-by-side of Billy Crystal's sweater and sweater in the recreation, and said, sweaters have just gotten bad. And the article was talking about the reasons why. And I feel like there was nothing in the article that was really a revelation. I think we all know that we're using a lot more synthetic fibers, that, fast fashion has gotten even faster.
Yes.
There's just people cranking out more stuff more often. I think I heard someone refer to it once as basically having 52 mini seasons in a year, as opposed to just having like spring, fall, and spring, summer, and winter, fall like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
But the article was still like really interesting in that it talked about, like, for instance, price is not a guarantee of quality. And they talked about specifically a Gucci sweater selling for $3,200 that was only half wool and half acrylic from Gucci for $3,200. But it also, I felt like it kind of pointed out the ways in which basically consumers are a big part of the issue. And it basically made 3 points about our bad habits. And one was that it said we don't punish retailers basically for poor quality. We still buy those things. And we don't, if one store or one brand has poor quality, we don't shun that brand and shop somewhere else.
Right.
They pay no penalty for offering poor quality. That retailers can rely on consumers to just not even check what fibers their clothing are made out of. And I know that was something I didn't even think about before I started purchasing fiber directly.
Right.
Because now fiber content is something that matters to me, because I do want to feel like I'm getting what I paid for. But if I wasn't crocheting, it would be something I never think about. I don't expect to find wool sweaters.
That was the other thing for me, that we don't even have that expectation anymore. I had never really seen much in the way of wool sweaters in stores. I defy you to find a sweater.
And a lot of brands will try to recreate the look of the wool sweaters, but not using wool or using much less wool than they used to. And also talked about how, we've prioritized being able to care for our clothes much faster, so that having a few things that you did wash by hand used to be normal. But now we don't want to be bothered with even that simple task. So that was something that I started thinking about for the first time again when I started using wool. Yes. Because even when I was crocheting actively but using acrylic, I didn't have to think about the care of the garment. So we're kind of the problem here. Obviously, we don't get to make the decisions in the industry that drive that. And, someone who was interviewed for the article spoke about a 2005 like trade agreement that expired, that basically it used to limit how much fiber the US, Canada, and Europe could acquire from developing countries. And when that expired, manufacturers automatically went to those cheaper markets. So yes, there are some forces that are definitely beyond our control, but we have definitely made a choice with regard to quantity versus quality.
Yeah, we made a choice in the beginning, but now most of us have no experience in natural fibers. Even if you buy, it's hard to buy a pair of jeans now that it used to be made of cotton. It's hard to buy a pair of jeans now that doesn't have spandex in it. And, you know, in the past, jeans fit you better the longer you wore them. Now jeans sag out of shape because of that spandex. There used to be a whole ritual for getting your jeans to fit that involved wearing them in your tub and soaking in water and letting them shrink to fit you. It was crazy, but people did it.
I missed that era, apparently. What the article didn't really talk about, though, was what's to be done about it. Because as far as market forces, those are not going to change from the bottom up. So there's very little, I think, consumers can do. And as long as the retailers or the manufacturers are being rewarded for these practices, they have no impetus to change on their own. So are we just stuck?
Even things like that seem to be luxury fibers, like cashmere sweaters. If you find a cashmere sweater for under $100, you're getting the lowest quality cashmere that's possible to be bought.
If you find a cashmere sweater for more than that, though, you might still be getting that low quality cashmere.
And that's where the consumer has no
price is not your guide. Don't assume because of a brand name or because of price that you're actually getting quality. And I see that a lot in YouTube videos where people talking about these handbags they pay ridiculous prices for. They say, oh, and it's such good quality. I'm like, tell me about the quality, sweetie. What makes that bad quality? Because you don't know. It's just a word you use because you assume
because you paid a lot
that certain brands are offering quality. They used to. They're resting on their laurels, but once they went to mass production, there's no way to offer volume and that level of quality. It simply can't be done.
Think about how we're seeing so many of the designer bags done in canvas now that used to be made out of, they used to tout the different kinds of exotic leathers.
How many thousands of dollars for your canvas?
I was shocked when I started seeing canvas bags. I was like, really?
That's like the premium acrylic. What does that mean? Someone explain to me what premium acrylic is.
I don't know exactly what premium acrylic is.
Okay.
But I
is it a finer grade of plastic? I don't understand.
But even with the way that the market forces have changed fashion, I think it's even flowing over into the handmade market. Because look at how people are expected to like churn out thing after thing.
And that has been a discussion really how slow fashion is becoming fast fashion. And I know when I watch, I know it's hitting crocheters really hard. I don't know about the knitters.
It's hitting knitters too.
I see videos where in one video people are showing multiple garments. But this video came out 2 weeks after your last video. What is that pace?
Like this skirt, I think I started it in August. Yeah, I started it around the end of August. It's October. It's the middle of October now. So this skirt took me about 3 months to make. So I intend to wear this skirt for years. Okay?
But of course.
I intend to wear this skirt for years to come because I invested so much time into it. And do I feel, I don't know, I feel close to my handmade clothes. I know that sounds crazy.
No, I don't think that sounds crazy.
I don't see them as disposable clothing. It's clothing I'm going to mend. It's clothing I'm going to learn how to take care of properly. I'm learning more about how to wash and maintain these garments because I intend to wear them. And I invest so much time in creating them that I don't feel like I need lots and lots and lots of them. But what I have, I'm going to wear all the time. Mom, I was wearing my red sweater the other day, and Mom was like, "You wasn't lying. You do intend to wear that every day, don't you?" It was cold, and it was very cozy.
But I feel like if you knit or crochet, and like I said, you're buying fiber and not a finished garment, you're just going to be more inclined to thinking about what kind of fiber you're buying.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to a store and you have to get in and out that store in a certain amount of time because you might be between working all day and then coming home and making dinner and taking care of kids and doing all your other chores and what have you, who has the time even to read the label on every garment they buy? You know, you got 3 kids at home who are shooting up like sprouts and you have to keep buying them new clothes. How much time can you realistically put into checking those labels, especially if you know your kid's going to grow out that thing in a year anyway? So what options do consumers even have?
That's what I wondered too. I really don't know what good options are. Some of the things I've started to do is trying thrifting clothes. And you've seen me at the thrift store. Like, I bought this sweater at the thrift store. This is a 100% cotton sweater. But to tell you how many sweaters I cycled through at the thrift store to find a cotton sweater. I found one cashmere. If it didn't have a big old hole in it, I would have gotten that sweater. But sadly, no. You can try that because older clothes are often a better buy than the newer clothes. And that's the only solution.
But that takes time
that
too.
Takes, you put in time, you put in effort. Yes.
At the thrift store. So even though consumers do contribute to the problem, we're not like the sole cause, but we contribute. We have no power to change it. Because even if it was a problem you were willing and able to throw money at, like, okay, I want these natural fibers, so I'll spend $250 on a sweater. You have no guarantee that your $250 sweater actually has better, higher quality fibers.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're kind of screwed, y'all. Our sweaters are just going to continue to be garbage. And there's nothing we can do.
Well, we're doing some things. We're making some of our own sweaters.
That is only available to a small number of people, though. That it's not scalable. We can't all go back to, canning the preserves and making the garments and weaving the fibers and raising the chickens and no.
Yeah, no. I'm not really advocating that.
But I mean, it's in other areas of life.
But I see where you're going.
Clothes is not the only problem. And there's no going back. So how do we improve going forward? I don't know.
There's a lot of fakery in retail, and I don't know how we resolve that except by not buying certain things.
Clothes on a mannequin and there's that clip in the back.
Yes,
that is not how that's going to fit you. I hate that. I had to start making a habit of going to the back of the mannequin to see if they were artificially shaping, because that's what they're doing. They're giving the garment a shape.
Yeah, that
is not going to have when it's on you.
Nope.
Fakery. But sorry, that just really drives me nuts.
I see. I was like, whoo, set you down a road, girl. Set you down a road.
And you know what? I read an article about the mannequins in store windows that the companies, it's a separate company that dresses the mannequin. It's not that store and that brand. So sometimes the things in the window are not even sold at that store.
Yeah.
Some of the accents and the accessories you can't even find in that store because the window dresser brought that with them. What?
Fakery.
Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But I do recommend checking out the article in the Atlantic.
Your sweaters are garbage.
Yes, there's a paywall, but as I understand these things, there are ways around that. But and also check to see if your library carries the magazine, because I just got into getting magazines from my library digitally, and it is awesome. So check, or you could just pop into a bookstore and read the article. There are ways and there are ways, but I recommend checking out this article definitely in the Atlantic. Your sweaters are garbage. I think that's all we have for this week.
Yeah.
So thanks for stopping by.
See you next time.
And stay stitching.